Welcome to Laurie's Little Studio. I'm Laurie. Today I'm going to work on a for me work apron. I have an ancient pair of jeans that I'm going to cut up. I have some of my favorite fabrics that I'm going to try to use. I have this jelly roll. I'm not sure. I see stitching. I don't know what that is. But I also have another pair of jeans on the other side of the room, and I'm just going to try to cobble together something that I can wear that will keep my white t-shirts clean while I'm cleaning, because that's not been a good experience lately. The other thing I want to talk about is the packet that I made. I want to say the video went up 2 weeks ago. It's a little boho bag that contains our shopping bags, the ones that we take with us to go to the store. So my husband used it the first time, and it's the only time it's been used. By the way, the outer part of this bag, with the exception of the, I keep wanting to call this a lid, God, with the exception of this part, the top is coated in beeswax. So the thing that he reported to me is it worked well, but we need to have, I think, a shorter strap. These are too long. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I'll probably just edge finish it with a zigzag, and that way I won't have to completely remove this, and then I can just put a little bit bigger piece of Velcro. I could do that anyway, but I don't want this to be a deal breaker in using it. I want it to actually work. So I have some pictures of it in action, and the lady that was the cashier graciously agreed to have her photo taken while she was packing in the groceries in the cart. So I'll put those up probably in here somewhere. But my main goal today is to get an apron made, because I have a filthy house to clean, and I'm gonna wear an apron while I clean it. Okay, it's also February 1st, and February 5th is my birthday. I have my oldest daughter and son-in-law are driving up from Oregon to visit this weekend, and my fingers are crossed. I'm really hoping that that can happen. I understand that the weather can turn in a moment, but I want the house to be clean, and that's why I'm doing this apron thing today. I came back into the studio to do a little bit of work, and I was absolutely horrified by the dirt and the dust. Even though I cleaned, a good portion of it last week, it's still in bad shape. So I'm true to me. I'm not going to spend 100 years mapping and planning. I'm just going to cut these apart and make them into an apron. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, I'll probably still wear it. So I know I have seen a lot of aprons that utilize these pockets as part of the apron. It might work, it might not work, and I'm not going to cry if it doesn't. I don't want to use this waistband. So let me take my pinking shears. I'll just start working. There may not be a whole lot of talking. Okay, so far what I've done is I've basically just cut the jeans in such a way that I could utilize as much of the fabric as I felt like I could. There might have been a better way to do it, but this works for me. And then I took one jelly roll strip that I liked to go with it and split the difference. So this will be in the center. This is going to be at the waist, and then I'm going to build like a square top. This may be too wide. I don't know at this point. I'm not sure, but because I love this fabric right here, let me pull this pin out. All of my pin cushions are out of reach. I'm gonna have to press it because, oh my, it's a mess. I kind of want it doubled just for stability, so I could preserve half of this fabric by lining this with this, which is, I mean, I have got to tell you guys, it's so me to have two florals lined up like that. That's just totally something I would do. So let me kind of get a measurement on what I think I'll need. I feel like I need to have coverage on the bib. Okay, I'm kind of getting a good idea of what that needs to look like, but I can't really do that until I iron both of these scraps. They are wrinkled beyond belief. Before I do that though, I'm going to cut off the other side of the legs here. And I didn't really think about how long I wanted it to be, so I just kind of stitched as far down as I felt like stitching. I'll probably end up cutting it off. And then I want to put like a heart applique, but I don't want it to be pink and Valentine-y. I just want it to be like a heart applique, maybe another heart applique. So what I'm going to do is build some fabric with this. Really big. Okay. All right, so I'm going to press these. I'll probably cut both of the hearts from this. I might do one this way and then turn it around and do the other one this way. And that will definitely take care of that. I'll be right back. So I'm going to fold this in half. And I mean, clearly it's not squared up. I'm just, you know, it's just going to be a thing. I'll tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be something that I will use versus something that's sitting in a closet not being used. Alright, so I want this in half. There's my fold line. I can just cut and turn one this way and turn one this way. And then I don't know if you still make hearts like we used to do in school, but I do. Where's my pencil? It was right there. Oh, okay. So turn this way. And I want to try to get all of these, you know, some of all four of these pieces. So if I do this, forgot, I need to remove this section. Okay, so here are my hearts. I just really wanted these. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I'm just weird. So one this way, one that way. And I'm not going to finish these edges. Just not happening. All I'm going to do is take some adhesive spray. I don't normally spray directly onto fabric because I've had it bleed through before, so I'm just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trace. All I need is just kind of a, just a basic, this is where it goes kind of thing. Okay, perfect. And that should just kind of hold it in place while I'm just going to kind of do a loose zigzag around. Maybe zigzag or maybe just do a straight stitch. Yeah, I think just a straight. So do I want them? I think I'll put this one a little lower. Yeah. So this is the heart part. And again, that's just to give me kind of a spray guide. So I'm going to go length, I'm going to go up to 3. And I'm just going to do a straight stitch. Very rustic. While I was talking to my sister on the phone, I made this little flower from one of the charm pack pieces. So I'm going to put that on the apron too. It was really easy to do. All I did was I folded that charm pack piece in half. Why am I saying charm pack? Jelly roll. And I stitched it along the raw edges with great big stitches, and then I pulled them up and it gathered up into this, and then I just stitched it from the back and it made this little floret. So I'll end up putting that on the apron as well, I think, like so. Okay, so let me see now. I have to stitch this yet. Yeah, as I talked to her on the phone, I didn't do that part. I knew there was something I had not done. Okay, I'll do that and I'll be right back. I'm using myself as a mannequin. Okay. All right, let's see. It's probably going to show up a little bit better if I, yeah. All right, so what I plan to do is, yeah, I'm going to stitch along this side right here, stitch, stitch, stitch along this side, but I plan to leave the bottom edge open so that I can flip it to the other side, and then I'm going to do a kind of an interesting attachment here. I may have to angle these in just a little bit. I will be back tomorrow. Okay, day 2 on the apron pattern that isn't really a pattern. I am going to go ahead and cut it at about, I'm thinking about right here. This is the lowest of the 2 appliques that I did. See, this one's up here. This one's clearly lower, and that's about right on me. And remember, this is basically just a that's about right kind of pattern because I'm not making any measurements. I'm not using any paper pattern pieces. I'm just putting something together using up an old pair of jeans. So I'm gonna just go ahead. In fact, I'm gonna use my pinking shears, and I'm kind of loosely basing it on the graph on my mat. The top part of the apron here is somewhat straight, of course not perfect, but I can kind of use that as a guide to get kind of a straight cut right here. I'm going to use this line right here. So that makes it a little bit easier for me to deal with. The length, it was just getting kind of bulky and hard to manage. So what I wanted to do yesterday before I quit was add a top, kind of a piece of fabric right there. And of course the grain is going to be going in the opposite direction, but that's okay. All right. So let's just go ahead, maybe this one. Now I need to decide the width of this, which will determine the final length of this. And remember, I'm just going to insert this band, which I do need to sort of graduate this up. And I made another decision that I forgot to mention, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So let's see, I'm going to make a couple marks with my chalk. Find the center of this, which I haven't even pressed yet. Right. And I'm going to use this as my center there. So I need my chalk, which I put right here. All right, now what I would like to do is I'm going to take my ruler and just maybe go about an inch in from my mark at an angle. So there's that. If I slide that there, I have a nice, well, almost an inch. There we go. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'll line it up, and then I need to have it lined up on an inch mark, and then push that over. Perfect. Now I could fold this under, but I think I'm just going to leave it like this. It's not going to be a problem. And the main thing on this, I kind of wanted to top stitch, but I need to press it first. And then I'm going to top stitch right down this line to kind of keep it from being too bunchy in the front along that jelly roll strip. Okay, and then I have to decide what I want to use as ties. While I was at the ironing board, I made a couple of decisions. One of those decisions was to cut the bottom at kind of a little, I don't know what you call that, a curve, and to remove those seams that were along the edges. I just decided they were too floppy and bulky. Okay, so before I continue now, I have to check and see how much thread I have in my bobbin. And I'm going to use the table . So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this waist band. It's already been stitched, but I want to do a top stitch using my kind of wide open zigzag. I'll show you what that looks like. On my sewing machine, the Bernina 1080 from eons ago, it is stitch number 3 right here. And let me see if I can get it where you can actually see what that looks like. Probably not. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me get my pin cushion. Alrighty, so what I plan to do next is stitch a little piece of that right here so you can see what it actually looks like. There we go. So that's how that stitch works right there. Just a wavy, kind of elasticy stitch. Sorry about Bama. He decided he needed to bark at the UPS man again. Okay. A day in the studio when I don't drop something on the floor will be a momentous occasion. Trust me. Absolutely momentous. Alrighty. Now I need to put my machine back in straight stitch mode. So while I was over at the ironing board, I went ahead and pressed under the raw edges, which I am now going to go ahead. This is the back. I could trim this down just a little bit, but no, that's all right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just slip this. I'm not making any final decisions yet. So what I'm going to do is make a pleat on each one of the sash pieces. This way, I don't know yet what I'm going to do with the one that goes around my neck. I don't know if it's going to be one that ties or if it's going to be just slip it over my head. But anyway, so I'm going to fold this in half, just finger press, and then fold it back and then bring this down on top of it like that and pin it. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and bring this one like that and then remove the pin and pin it. I can just hold it. No. I can hold it in my hand. What I'm going to do is start here and stitch at an angle to the end right there. I don't think you can see my sewing machine. There we go. Well, all right. And I'm going to use my pinking shears and cut this off. Like this. And that's what I have right there. Okay. And it should lay flat, which it will, so that it looks like this. Okay. Excellent. And it will fit just right down here at the very bottom of this waistbandy kind of thing. But first I want to zigzag these ends. So I'm going to go off, on, like so, so it will capture this raw edge right here. And then I can actually just, you know, zig this on if I want to as well. I could switch it back into a straight stitch also, but I'm going to go over it a couple times. It's always a good idea when you have something on your project that will experience a lot of stress over and over, especially if it's something that's going to get washed. Just go ahead and stitch a couple times so you know it's not going to come off. Okay, I'll just cut that little point. Well, you didn't see that, but I'll try to get it in frame on the next side. But I just cut the little point off. So this has been stitched back and forth, and like I said, I don't normally do my sashes this way, but since this one is going to come down over the top, I think, well, that might not be a good idea there. I might put a rosette or something. I just realized that this should have been up here, I think. Okay, so this, I think, is how I will deal with the issue of this. I will just make another one of these and attach it to the other side. I mean, oh my God, that is just a little bit too cute. Alright, I have returned, and I wanted to look in here for buttons to put in the center of my weird little yo-yos that aren't really yo-yos. Let's see what I have. Okay, here's some brown ones. Oh, these are cute. Maybe. That's clasp. Silver. That's a little bit too shiny. These are like a basket weave. They might be the perfect ones. I think they are. Okay. I'm going to use double thread. The static electricity in this room is insane today. Absolutely insane. Okay. Finger press that. Yeah, that's not right. Let's see how far off I am. Okay, it's right here. Okay, I did that so I know that's not the line. It's this one right here, and this is my fold line right here. So I'm just going to line those up. Right there. Okay, so I like the way this fits, and what I'm going to do is stitch, ouch, I'm going to stitch all the way across here. Should I use a decorative stitch? Maybe I should. I think I'll use the blanket stitch. stitch the little yo-yos on. Here's the front. And I also wanted to stitch, I'm going to lengthen my straight stitch to about 3.5, 3.5. Keep all my little things out of the way here. And I'm just going to stitch right along the edge like I did with the hearts. Like that. Just getting that primitive look. The final part, which will be the tie or the loop. I'm not sure yet what I want to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut that bottom hem off. Alright, so next I will cut right along Look at that. That's crazy, isn't it? I almost feel like this could be an art installation. Oh, what my goodness. That is funny.
I have to stitch these together. I'm going to have to decide how I want to assemble this. Do I want to stitch these right sides together? I almost like the back side of this. Like if I had stitched them and then turned them out so that this was what you saw. I kind of like that better. But I also don't like the idea of having them be that small. Although maybe I do. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch them wrong sides together. First I'm going to stitch them together. And I need to do it.
Yeah, wrong sides together. Because I'm going to pretend like this is the right side of the fabric. I just like this much better. Okay, so this is where it needs to be. So I'm going to cut it. If I attach it there, I definitely want length. So I'm going to cut. I'm using the other piece to measure with. So I cut this off both sides so that this seam would still be in the center part of my neck. Alright, now I need to grab my big, huge safety pin. And I'm going to attach it to the end of my tube, about right there. And then I'm going to turn it. It's always a little fiddly at this stage, but I'm just going to kind of bring it over and then push the head of this safety pin down inside the tube like that. And then thread it through, and so I'll push it like 3 times and then just pull the bunched up fabric back over itself. Now the best part is when you get this pin out the other end, you kind of want to be careful not pull on the pin. Just kind of push the fabric away if you can. And then when you see the fabric, that's what you can pull on. If you pull on the pin, you might tear a hole in your fabric. So now that I've got this pushed all the way through, I can just pull it. And there's my tube. I think I'll press it so that this seam is on the inside, like that. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I used the wrong side of the denim as the pretend right side. All right. And you can just kind of push that in on itself. I'm going to remeasure. I'm not going to sew this until I can mark it or pin it or something. But I left myself a whole extra bunch of fabric here of this tube, so I knew I would have plenty to, you know, poke it back in there. Wouldn't have to worry about it being an exact measurement. Okay. That feels perfect. And I want this to be right in the center of the back of my neck. So let's see. I can't. There we go. So I'll pin it again and then put it over my head. All right, I got that done. Well, I am delighted, and the funny thing about it is I know a lot of people will not use stretchy jeans for other projects because, you know, they stretch and it's hard to work with it sometimes. But this turned out so cute that I am thrilled. I'm delighted. I might still, no, well, I don't know. Trying to decide how I want to do this neck strap. I'm worried that it's gonna, because of the stretch, it might get a little weird. So I think I will do just a little bit of random stitching here. So I will post a picture of the finished apron up for you guys to see. Maybe that'll be the thumbnail. and I am going to go put it to work because I've got quite a bit of work to do in the house. But I can't tell you how thrilled I am that I have a whole pair of jeans repurposed. I have some really cute little hearts made from leftover jelly roll that I don't know what I was going to do with it. Got this part of the jelly roll. These are functioning pockets on me. My hands fit in here perfectly on this apron. So I have these two buttons are out of my stash. I've had them for decades, guys. I think maybe even before I was married, and that was a long time ago. Crazy. So I have this little bit of fabric out of my stash. I have a thread I need to cut. I have this little bit of fabric out of my stash. And I have an apron that I can use that will protect my clothes. And it was made by me. So I love it. I think it's just adorable. Alright, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider clicking on that button. I will see you in the next one. Bye.